Foday Fahnbullah Foundation number 7, Bong County. That is former Insanity District.
Right after inauguration, what's your own perspective of this inauguration ceremony that went the way it went?
You know, our inauguration has set a very bright foundation for West Africa. We have shown to the world that we're able to manage our own internal transitional affairs. We have observed active campaigning. We have gone to elections and parties have lost and they accepted the results. And all of us have seen the peaceful transition in the past 12 years. We saw Honorable Ellen Johnson Sirleaf transferring power to former President George Weah. Today we observe former President George Weah transferring power to current President Joseph Yoman Boakai to steer the affairs of the state for the next 6 years.
Somebody may say the most turning point in the inauguration ceremony is the manner in which the president's speech, inaugural speech, ended. Somebody say he fainted, he didn't end his speech. What have you to say, sir?
You know, the organizers did not take into consideration the weather condition of our country. At this time of the year, you observe that we face with some of the heatiest environment, and with what we observed out there, the sun was terrible, and they organized the program. There was no fan, there was nothing to provide at least a cooling environment for dignitaries. And with that heat, believe me, I saw gigantic young men, EPS men, falling off only because of the heat. I saw young women, yes, I saw them falling off. So, and the president is not an exception to the heat. I myself, I left the place and I walked into the rotunda to be able to fresh some cool air. So it was a terrible scene. I think our weather conditions is almost hard. It's always harsh in the time of the year, and that's something that will take due note in the future. We have seen what has happened. We will be able to put in place all mechanisms to protect our transition. But it was fine. The president delivered a wonderful speech, and the Liberian people who see the outcome of his leadership in the next few months.
What's the most turning point in the speech that you listened to?
You know, the president's ability to inform the Liberian people that he's here to work for them. The president is ready to work for them. The president has said his policy will address some of the turning issues in our country. And we all as Liberians need to be able to rally and put our differences aside. That he was extending olive branch to the opposition, the former ruling establishment, that it is time to work for the Liberian people, and all of us need to put our feet on the ground to work for the Liberian people. So I think the president made a sensitive speech. His speech captured all of the issues unfolding around us. His speech was able to put in a perspective where he thinks this country is heading, and the president is intent are all good. As he's explained it, we're going to see the makeup of the leadership he's going to put in place, especially ministers steering the affairs of this country. You know, there will all be issues, especially on some of these days. And when you have major events, such things happen. It is not new. There are heat waves around the world that strike people, they kill people. Fortunately for us today, no one died from the situation.
Okay. So my last question is, one line the president message said, not business as usual. What will you want to polish when he says,
you know,
not business as usual?
When the president says not business as usual, usually they are informing, quote unquote, one may turn their crocodiles, who those things will not be run the same way. You will agree with me that in the past few years, our partners at the United States have sanctioned some of our local officials, and with that, the president is informing the world that business will not be done as usual. He's telling the world that justice will prevail. He's telling the world that people will be held accountable. He's telling the world that law will become the order of the day. He's telling the world that it is time for you to understand that Liberia is moving to another level diplomatically and administratively. So I think the president has laid a foundation to move this country forward, and we within the legislature, we're going to do everything to ensure that those legislative agenda of the president that focus on the improvement of the Liberian people, we will always support them. And I believe with time, some of the people who fell off, I think doctors are taking care of them, but the reality is that the president is ready to work for the Liberian people.
All right, I had two concerns. So, firstly, expectations are high when it comes to governance and it comes to delivering merely job creation and accountability. You are a member of the legislature. How does the legislature help, or how prepared is the legislature to work with the president in terms of accountability? The budget passes through you. You scrutinize the budget. You have the responsibility to provide oversight on spending entity of government. I mean, talking about accountability.
You know, when you're talking about accountability, it is a sole priority of a president. A president should be able to ensure that when people mismanage state resources, they should be investigated, and if need be, if they are culpable, they should be taken to court. So to have people around you who will mismanage the state resources and they are not punished, it is because of that we are here. So if you are saying business will not be done the same way, I think the president's interest is to ensure that the law take its full course and people are investigated. The next aspect is to ensure that the outgoing government should be audited. You need to set the foundation as to where we're starting from. Moving forward, I'm sure between now and within the next 12 hours or 24 hours, the president will need to inform the Liberian people as to how he would intend to manage the financial aspect of this country, especially those who are manage the state resources, how he's going to deal with them if he launching the investigation, how that investigations will be done, because we believe it won't be a witch hunt. In as much as you have served, when you are called for audit, you should be able to avail yourself. So the president is going to put in place all of these measures, and we from the legislature will put in place every mechanism to support that agenda in as much as it benefits the Liberian people.
Finally, one thing I did not hear from the president's speech is, how the country looks like in terms of our balances in our reserve, our domestic balance and our federal reserves balance. Yeah, is that something concerning?
This speech is not intended for that. You have the State of the Nation address that will be held next Monday, the next working Monday, and that address is intended to tell you financially where the country stands, where he's taking this country, as to whether he wants to launch an investigation, as to how he will proceed with this country financially. So we are with the State of the Nation address to understand what is the balance of some of the major accounts that we have in and around the world. So it is our responsibility to at least give him that breathing space for him to understand all of the things, because within 1 week you're going to send officers, there are officers in charge, there are basic information. That you saw some of the transition team sector. There were some break-ins, so now he's the president. Now he has the opportunity to ask for any document. Now people are obligated to answer his question. So within the next 1 week, we all will understand as to where this country is financially. So the State of the Nation address will address some of the issues and lay to rest some of the perception our people out there. But I can advise the president, and I'll be very clear, that the Liberian people voted you. People who have mismanaged the state resources in the past can be held accountable. So the law should be able to take its course, and people should be prosecuted when they are found culpable for mismanaging state resources. Corrupt actors should not be placed in another form and given to the Liberian people to serve. So I think we are waiting, and our expectations is not to reduce your expectations, is to understand that your expectations should remain at the level you voted for him. Because you had this expectation, you voted for him, you cannot manage it. You are asking him to live up to your expectation. It is because of that you voted him. So I think the president will do his best, and we await that decision from the president.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
So Ms. Foday Fahnbullah,